There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo! Welcome back, everyone, to the Yonkō Table. You know, funny enough, here we are on today's episode, and here we are saying Yonkō Table, and it all makes sense now because here today we are giving you our One Piece roundtable discussion. Yes, everyone, you've heard it. We are finally tackling the creme de la creme, our namesake, our nomenclature, that is One Piece. One Piece has inspired the podcast that is the Yonkō Table, and here we are finally deep diving One Piece. And we're just gonna go ahead and talk about what makes this manga anime series just so great and so groundbreaking. And of course, we have a panel of supernovas and Yonko alike here to discuss why this pinnacle of anime manga is forever going and everlasting and just game-changing through and through. With me, as always, is DrJaceAttorney. And again, I'm GrandMAsterHoop, and it seems the helm has been given to me. So you could call me, Fishman. I'm just kidding. No, we ain't doing that. But DrJaceAttorney, my fellow Yonko, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic, Grandmaster. I'm excited, man. Our entire podcast, our nomenclature is based off of this series, so that goes a long way in saying how much we adore it. You know, the story of Luffy and his pirate gang with the Straw Hats, and I mean, we're gonna get into it, but I'm mega excited to talk about everything about this show and manga and how it pretty much shaped our perspective on how we watch certain animes and even different forms of media. So I'm hyped. The Yonkō Table's hype. I'm hungry.
Rightfully so. There's a lot to eat up with One Piece. Like our main man, Luffy, there is plenty to eat. We are here for the meat. So happy to have you here, DrJaceAttorney. But let's go around and let's go ahead and introduce our fellow supernova that are here today. First up, we have Toasty. Toasty, what brings you today to the table? What is One Piece up there with your favorite anime viewings? What's going on, Toasty?
Yeah, the same reason this podcast was created, honestly. One Piece is just amazing. I'm always talking about with Dr. Jace and how the author, in my opinion, is a genius. He's up there in terms of lore creating and lore making of a story, I guess. And that's why I'm here. It's just an amazing story. You won't see stories like that in Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, or any of the older show like Bleach. But One Piece, for some reason, the author just knows how to create a good story. And it's fun. I'm always laughing when I'm reading it or watching it. So that's why I'm here.
Hands down, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, hey, 20 years this manga has been going on. I'm sorry, the anime has been going on for 20 years and the manga even longer. So the story keeps giving and it never lets up. And I think we can all appreciate that it's still going strong to this day. Next up, we have another supernova joining us today. We have TevintheFifth. TevintheFifth, man, we haven't heard from you in a while. How you been doing, TevintheFifth? What brings you here to the table today?
I missed you fellas. Hope everybody's doing well. I got busy with school, so I've been mixing that action, but I'm happy to be back. I love One Piece. One of my favorite anime adventures of all time was when I gave up like a month of my life and caught up with One Piece. So about 3 weeks, that's all I did was watch One Piece. Granted, I skipped up to Alabasta, but Alabasta all the way down, a good month of my time. So yeah, I love One Piece and I'm happy to talk about it with you guys.
Awesome. Glad to have you here. Again, we all love One Piece. That's why we are all here today. Up next, we have Dr. Mondo, hailing from Chicago now. Dr. Mondo, how are you doing today?
Doing great. A little bit MIA with moving and starting to work, but I'm hungry just to talk about One Piece. I jumped in pretty late on the One Piece train at the end of college, but I binged watch it through and still read the manga every week or every 2 weeks it comes on. Amazing story, amazing world, and just full of mystery as well as lots of laughs. So hungry to talk about this.
All right, glad to have you here, Dr. Mondo. Glad you could find some time. And last but not least, we have our final supernova of the evening. We have Kame Chris. And Kame Chris, we were definitely we were trying to pull you to come on today. You wanted to give some excuses, but we know we had to have you on today.
No, I just haven't been feeling well for the past few days, so I was trying to take a nap. But yeah, you called me, so I was like, I guess I'll come do this. But as far as like One Piece goes, I mean, I like everybody else, I binge watched that for like a whole summer, all the way up until I think I caught up around Thriller Bark. That during that arc, yeah, I caught up around there, and then I just been watching since. But as far as just like, why I'm like super interested, it just, I don't know, like anytime something makes you cry too many times, you're like, okay, like this is too deep. like I'm in way too deep with this anime. Like there's no way I should be crying this much. It was so confusing too, but I mean, even till now, like with what's current, still like gets me a little bit emotional. I'm like, oh my god, like this is just too much. All the time.
And that's okay. I mean, I think that's a lore that keeps us coming back, is the emotions that this series makes us feel. And oh my goodness, we can go on for days. And I'm sure we're actually going to talk about it too. But hey, happy to have you here, Kame Chris. You know what? I think that's everybody. So, without further ado, gentlemen, let's go.
Without further ado, what are you doing? What are you doing? Were you really about to have your One Piece episode without your favorite Admiral, Hooperlino?
Oh, gosh.
This guy again.
What do you know, Dr. Jace? Every time I host.
Every time. It's almost as if there's some relation between you two characters.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I don't see a resemblance.
No. I've only have a relation with one brother, and I lost him a long time ago. I miss him every day.
I too lost my brother a long time ago, so no one could ever replace him, but that's fine. Hooperlino is here, everybody. Hooperlino, the Admiral.
Of course, the Admiral is here on the One Piece episode. I was not going to miss out on this, so I am here, and I'm ready also to eat at this Yonkō Table, which one day will be the Admiral Table.
Oh, sure enough. Sure. I mean, you could dream big. That's what One Piece is about.
That's
dream.
right. Big dreams.
Yeah.
And chase them without end.
There you go. And not everybody gets their dream in One Piece, I think. I think sometimes the dreams are inherited by other characters. So maybe Hooperlino, your dream, I don't think you're gonna necessarily see this podcast turn into, like the Admiral Table, but maybe, we can defeat you and your dream will be inherited by another up and coming Admiral or something.
Well, I'm sure we'll get into this more, but the way One Piece is heading right now, it looks like the Yonkos are about to have a huge setback in the story, while the Admirals are sitting pretty nicely.
Ooh, I mean, real quick, everybody's caught up, show of hands. Everybody's caught up as far as Japanese chapter releases go. All right, I see. Hands.
I don't mind spoilers. I'm like 900 chapters behind, so I'm gonna.
We won't do crazy spoilers. We won't do anything wild.
Well, time out. He just said 900 chapters.
No, it's because I'm rereading it because I forgot part of the story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I got halfway there and then I stopped reading for like 2 years. Now I have to go back because you know how One Piece is. They're gonna introduce a character in chapter 50 and that's gonna be the main character in chapter 1500. So, gotta know my story.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
He does that.
Yes, and honestly, that's a credit to the writing. That's really good writing. That you never thought this character would come back and have any kind of significance. But that's part of the beauty. That is One Piece. That is the beauty. So, gentlemen, without further ado, let's go ahead and just let's crack open this can of worms that is the gloriousness that is One Piece. So, for our listeners who do not know, One Piece is a long time manga anime series that follows the exploits of a young boy named Monkey D. Luffy and his dream to be king of the pirates. And in his quest to become king, he assembles a crew and they take on various baddies across the sea. And all the while, it's just, man, the theme of dreams. Everybody has a dream and everybody wants to see their dream come to fruition. And it's just a beautiful story. And for 20 plus odd years or so, I think it's about 25 years this whole thing has been going on. It's still going strong. It is actually, I want to say it's the number one as far as popularity goes. And correct me if I'm wrong, the number one popular manga anime series in Japan. I mean, One Piece is everywhere. One Piece is a world phenomenon. And especially in Japan, you can find One Piece literally everywhere as far as restaurants, stores, cafes, man. Like, can you imagine if we had like a Timmy Turner cafe over here on,
Ew.
Yeah, ew. And we don't have it. We don't have it.
Thank God we don't. Right.
We don't put the value into such things.
Right.
They rather put value elsewhere, but One Piece is, universally recognized as just this superior type of anime despite its length. But stateside, talking about, US and the Western Hemisphere, One Piece really didn't come over here as far as big time until about early 2000s. And the first question I like to go ahead and pose to the table is, how did y'all get introduced to One Piece? I mean, One Piece was kicking for about 7 or so years before it reached over here in the US. How did everyone go ahead and get introduced to this epic world that is One Piece? And I'm throwing that on the table right now.
I would say I got introduced through the manga, and it was in the Walmart magazine section. Way back in the day, they used to have like an American version of Shonen Jump, where instead of it being weekly, it was a monthly issue. And I remember opening up that big ass manga. It was like 400 pages worth of like different size. It was a good size. Yeah. And it was a bunch of chapters from different stories. Obviously, I wasn't opening it up to read One Piece because I didn't know it existed at the time. I saw DBZ in there and I'm like, oh, DBZ, I like DBZ. So I got it and all I read was DBZ from that manga, and then I put it to the side. I didn't look at anything again. But then I started to get really bored and I started to wonder, hey, what about some of those other stories that were in there that I didn't give the time of day? So I started looking again and I noticed, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm like, okay, I like Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh's fine. And mind you, with the manga, I mean, I've never read manga before up until this point. So I was reading this from left to right, not understanding anything of what.
Poser. You're a poser.
Nothing. I mean, I refuse to believe there's not a single person in here that had that same struggle, that when reading manga for the very first time, come on.
Maybe
the lies. I know that's a lie.
Not me.
That's a lie.
I didn't know which direction to read in. Like, I didn't know why it went that way. And I was so confused.
Thank you, Kame Chris. It took a while to click. It took me like a solid 30 minutes from what I remember.
30 minutes. Are you sure?
From what I remember, yes. But eventually I got it down and I'm like, okay, this is some weird ass thing where you read it from right to left. Hey, it's from Japan. I'll take it, whatever. So eventually I saw One Piece, and I think at the time of the story that it was in, they were in the Barate arc. So that was where they, met Sanji, the cook, for the first time. And oh boy, I mean, I really just started reading the chapter. And the one thing that drew me into it immediately was, it's gonna be kind of shallow, but the blood. I wasn't used to seeing, I guess, that level of violence in other like manga stories. Like even in DBZ, you would get like someone dripping blood off the side of their mouth and that's it, or someone's arm getting blown off, but like it's perfectly fine, they're not spewing blood everywhere. But in here, I mean, the first chapter I read is Zorro getting like cut in half by Hawkeye, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I want to read this some more. So I would say that was how I got introduced. It was through the manga. I saw that blood and I'm like, yo, this is something. I gotta read this. This is a keeper.
And that's, honestly, that's fair. It's just the storytelling is very real. Oh God, let me not say realistic. However, yes, you didn't see blood in Yu-Gi-Oh per se.
Right. It was the Shadow Realm. It wasn't death.
Yes. Maybe in the original Yu-Gi-Oh you saw some blood, but One Piece was very much about the violence. Not necessarily the violence, because there's always passion. And
there was weight. There was
weight
weight to like what was going on.
Yes, and I think I know exactly what you're talking about. It was either when Gin was bleeding, or Luffy was bleeding from his fist from hitting the darts that Don Krieg was shooting at. Yes. So I understand. Now I like to go ahead. That's a manga. Is anybody else first foray with One Piece manga base? Or did anybody hop in through the anime? Because the anime is an interesting topic if you first discovered One Piece through anime, because we cannot talk about One Piece anime without mentioning the 4Kids dub. And I would like to say the 4Kids dub was a lot of people's introduction. I see a lot of heads nodding, so anyone could go ahead and take it. Was the 4Kids dub your intro to One Piece?
I guess I can go, 100% 4Kids. For me, I still remember the year. It was summer 2005. I had just moved to the state, so I didn't understand a thing they were saying in TV, but that should just click with me. It was just amazing. The character, the world, the pirate stuff, it was just amazing. So I always like pirates and stuff like that, and like science fiction. So for me, the 4Kids dub, plus the opening, the music. For God's sake.
The best intro. The best one.
To this day, I don't know the lyric because I never learned them, but I just knew the beat. But that was the 4Kid dubs. That thing was amazing. And that's what got me more into anime, because I used to watch Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, all of those classic shows that we all
staples.
watch. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Even Dragon Ball Z I used to watch. But One Piece was like the first really weird one where it was a completely different type of stuff. It wasn't just straight up Dragon Ball Z, two men beating each other up. There wasn't Pokemon, which were practically pets. Digimon was the same thing. One Piece was more lore-wise. They had actually a good story to it, which is something I personally believe that shows like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, they all miss. One Piece has a really good story. And that's what got me into it. And here it is, 16 years later, and we still talk about One Piece. So pretty goddamn amazing.
I will say this. I know Dr. Jace definitely knows that theme song by heart. And I think even TevintheFifth.
Word by word.
Word by word. My brother, way back when, I think he was a fan of it. Fun fact, Dr. Jace and I actually reached out to the guy who rapped the intro on Twitter. We're waiting for him to respond.
We're still waiting.
We asked him to come on to the podcast. Waiting for him to talk. But so with the 4Kids though, I think it was a lot of our intros to One Piece, and that's fine because you just got to get it over. And honestly, when we talk about the theme song, that is one big thing, and we talked about that in our anime podcast as a whole. Sometimes they had to bring us over and get us over and hooked with the theme song, and the One Piece theme song was pretty dynamic. That freaking rap, you didn't hear many raps.
Beautiful.
And themes. I don't know about beautiful. At the time, it was Polaric for sure. Here's how we go with the story. We find out about the treasure in the Grand Line.
Come on, man, those rhymes. Come on, Eminem would be sweating. He'd be sweating.
There we go. Music of the year.
I don't
100%.
I don't know about the music of the year, but funny enough, since we're here talking about our intro, we have to understand, because Dr. Jace, you talked about the blood that you saw in the manga, right?
Right.
And let's keep on the topic of the 4Kids dub. The 4Kids was a dub, and not only was it a dub, it was a dub that was dumbed down to fit kind of the Y7 audience.
Censored.
Hella censored. No blood, and amongst another amount of things that were dubbed down. And let me go ahead, TevintheFifth, what did you notice during that 4Kids dub that you were just like, compared to where you are with One Piece now, what do you now realize was really dubbed down for that censorship?
See, what's so funny? Like, I was introduced to One Piece the same way, but like I hated it back then. It's really funny. In my mind, I did. I was like, in my mind.
Same here.
Oh, okay.
I was like, he's like one step up above like bo.
Oh my God! What a comparison is that?
That was not a good one.
That comparison. Oh Lord.
It's funny because that's how the theme song was really catchy, because somehow, like, I didn't watch it, but I watched it. If that makes sense. Like, I did not watch it. Like, I don't know if it was just on TV in some kind of way, and I might just like back, but I don't know. That's why.
If it was on, you just left it on. You might not have been paying attention. You just like, oh, okay, it's on. I'm not gonna change the channel.
So it wasn't actually until I got respect of anime. I said, you can't be a lover of anime and like not watch One Piece. Like, it's like you're 22 now. Then back then you were like 13. So it's like, okay, so it took me to get respect for it first, to go back and then watch it. But like I said, I'm an Alabasta hater. I started at the end of Alabasta because I kind of from the TV, from watching it on TV, I kind of knew, what happened beforehand a little bit here and there. But like every time I tried to start, I said, okay, I'm gonna start at the beginning of Alabasta. I'm gonna start Alabasta. I just couldn't get through it, so I went to the end this time, and then I got all the way through. But my favorite thing is just to watch the animation get better. Really, that's like my, just to see the progress of character development and the animation. But yeah, so that's all I'm saying. My first time with One Piece, I wasn't a fan. I had to grow to be a fan later on.
Same thing here.
Go ahead,
Like I
DrMondo.
So yeah, like I started One Piece like with a 4Kids dub. I think dropped it in Chopper's arc. I just couldn't push through as a kid with that, and I was like, okay. I left it until college, and then it's there like without the 4Kids dub, and actually maybe like the subs or a better dub, and now more mature, that you can actually like interpret and understand everything that's going on so much better. And it's actually like I fell in love with it. Like I think I binge watched almost all of One Piece in about a month. And I was doing nothing with my life as well. Just binging One Piece for a month. And I was like, why did I leave this at the beginning? This is so fucking good.
Everyone comes to that realization.
I do admit there's some arcs that like they were kind of a chore to push through. Like Chopper's arc, when I got there the second time, it was a chore to push through a little bit for some parts. But overall, yeah. Same thing that with that TevintheFifth said.
But you realize that the best arc was the Foxy Pirate arc at some point.
Oh my gosh! Well, 4Kids didn't even make it as Foxy Pirates.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
No, and there's some arcs that just 4Kids kind of like took it, like threw in the trash with regards to actually being they're great arcs, and they just threw it in the trash. Like, because the dub sucks.
Hooperlino, I see you itching over there. I know I shouldn't be giving you the reins to.
I'll just take it then.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just take it then. In 4Kids' defense, like I think I said this in the anime episode, they were coming off of bringing Pokemon and making it a phenomenon. You know what I mean? They like just crushed the delivery of Pokemon to everyone. And there really was no precedent for like what One Piece was trying to do. Like this idea of like serial television and like slowly building out this world. Like, I mean, the kids who were watching it didn't know what One Piece was. Like, and I think that's why when everybody kind of talks about like those early arcs, it's like, it's either a struggle, I didn't get it, I enjoyed it so much more later on, because it is a tough thing to bring over. Like DrJaceAttorney, you were talking about like the action and the blood. Like we didn't have that, you know what I mean? That wasn't on Adult Swim, you know what I mean? Like, and the thing is, the reason why I think we have like this retrospect kind of like look back at 4Kids and said they did a bad job is because Naruto did exactly what One Piece should have done, and it came right after that and was super successful. It brought the action, it brought the violence, it said like, let there be blood, and it was a huge success. But like prior to Naruto, there was nothing like TVY7 or like on your Saturday morning cartoons. Absolutely.
One Piece was a learning curve.
Right.
Like they were trying to apply the same formula for Pokemon, which isn't as, I would say, serious in many ways. Like it's not as bloody, it's not as mature. They tried to apply it to One Piece and try to make it like a kids show, and it failed. I would say it failed.
I think that's a great point.
And they figured it out, and then Naruto came and like, okay, let's just correct all the mistakes we did here and not make it here with Naruto. Right. And that's why like Naruto just was a bang from the very beginning.
Naruto became what One Piece should have became. And correct me if I'm wrong, GrandMasterHoop, like Naruto's not as big as One Piece in Japan. Like One Piece is still reigns king over there.
One Piece reigns king.
Yes.
100%.
One Piece reigns king. Yes. The fandom is huge. I know Naruto's probably like still like top 10.
Yeah.
For sure.
It still carries weight. It's Naruto.
Even with, Boruto going on, it is still carrying the fan of the Leaf Village. But One Piece somehow reigns supreme. But, funny enough, I believe 4Kids, I'm looking at it now, 4Kids went under. They went bankrupt. They had to file for bankruptcy. And one time that they filed for bankruptcy was right at the tail end of the Alabasta. And I don't know if y'all remember, they never actually finished the Alabasta on air. They finished they finished dubbing the episodes, but they never aired them. So it wasn't until, I can't even tell you, One Piece started airing on Toonami, and they kind of picked up. They didn't even pick up with the end of Alabasta.
They did Skypiea.
They just went straight into Skypiea.
They went straight into it.
So, I want to go ahead and ask Kame Chris. Kame Chris, what was the solidifying thing that had you coming back to One Piece? Why did you want to come back to One Piece? Because the gap between 4Kids closing and Funimation taking over was, I don't remember the amount of years, but it was a good amount of years. What brought you back, or what kept you invested in One Piece? Was it characters? Was it an arc? What kept you invested?
Well, it was, for me, I didn't really, I saw it on 4Kids, but I didn't, understand what any of it was. I didn't care about One Piece. So, for me, it really started, I would say, I was looking through French Shonen Jump magazine, and I wasn't there for One Piece, but I was just flipping through, and then One Piece was there. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll check this out. And that was when you could go, man, I forget the anime websites you could go on and watch all of, oh my God, it just started. And I looked up One Piece and I saw, it wasn't a lot at the time, but I got all the way, I caught all the way up to Thriller Bark, and I was like, all right, I'm okay. This was quite a lot. And then I skipped, and then high school, I started up again. And then it was by that time, it at the end of high school, it was already up until, I want to say past Marine Board at the time. So it was I caught back up there, and I was like, oh, this was great. Why did I ever just get tired of watching it? I should have just kept watching it every week. But I only like knew about the website, but I didn't know they updated it. You know, I just was like, oh, they have like everything here. So you just like watch it continuously. But for me, what made me really kept coming back was when I was just like, okay, this is just like too emotional for me. Like this is too good. And then it was like the development of like the characters, like each character not like just being kind of tossed to the side, like every single one like getting stronger. But sometimes it's not explained. But you know, at the same time, it was like, okay, I feel like it's like a whole family, like that you're like feeling it at every moment. So you're like, man, I really like it's just every time you come back to it, it's just really refreshing. Because you know, you watch Naruto and like you get like the three main, but then you really all you were really watching was for like Naruto and Sasuke at the time. And then you know, you got Dragon Ball Z, Goku, maybe Vegeta, you know, but like One Piece, you know, I would say you actually
Everyone gets their moment.
Yeah,
all lives matter.
Yeah, yeah, literally. Yeah, especially now, I would say dynamics definitely changed. But yeah, it definitely always had like just a continuation of that very much like family vibe that it always keeps on through. Even when you're like, oh, we see Luffy for like 30 episodes, but we don't see anyone else. And then they come back together. It's like, oh, what happened? Like 30 episodes later.
It's a big
like,
moment.
Who got stronger? Like, what's going on? So it's like and there's always so much to the story that you're like anticipating the next thing. Like even when one thing finishes, you're like, okay, but we still got the world government that is like extremely terrifying. You know,
they like to throw in those little seedlings of like the bigger picture going on.
Yeah, and you're like, so what's going on? So what's gonna happen now? And then you start finding out, you know, who's like who really, and you're like, okay, yeah, this has got me absorbed onto an addictive matter that I'm probably going to finish all the way out, which I did, and binge watch it all the way past Marineford, and then just keep on reading and watching. Oh, and for me in particular, I watched an anime, and then after I watched the anime, I get really impatient. So then I started reading the manga, and then that's what like made me really stick with the manga for like ever. Like, and the manga's way better.
I think that happens to literally almost everybody who's a manga reader. I don't think there's a single I don't really know of any manga readers who started with the manga. They always start with the anime, then catch up, and then like, okay, I don't want to wait anymore. But I think, you know, the great thing about One Piece, and as we talk about it, you know, the four kids, we were all relatively young, so to speak, that we were noticing the maturity of the story. The story was very mature.
They couldn't censor that.
They couldn't censor that.
They could not.
Absolutely. They could not censor the maturity, the emotions, and just the, you know, the ever interplaying roles of the characters that, you know, they were mixing and matching all these things and building this world. So four kids, they pretty much they cover pretty much the whole East Blue saga, right? They tackle Buggy the Clown, Kuro, Don Krieg, On Long Park, and Rogue Town.
Right.
And I have to ask, there's got to be a moment in that whole saga that either y'all watched or read where you were like, this is it. This is my show. Like, I'm gonna
Arlong
stick to
Park.
this. Arlong Park. All right, so you're breaking
that's
look at my background.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Arlong Park for sure.
That's
so to Arlong Park.
Yeah,
Arlong Park. That's the
period. Yeah, that was crazy.
That's the moment. Like, whenever I recommend to like friends or family, you know, to get into One Piece, I always tell them, give it up until Arlong Park. If you do not like Arlong Park, just drop it from there. That is a big commitment, because that's like 70 to 80 chapters or so getting in. But things
I tell people Water 7. Get to Water 7.
That takes a while.
Water 7 is amazing.
You're going like 40 volumes in.
If you get to Water 7 and you still don't like it, like you finish Water 7, then all right, it might not be for you.
So you're not saying Arlong Park did it for you?
Why would someone reach Water 7 if they hate if they hate
You're gonna read Alabasta, hate it. What Arlong Park, hate it.
It's like, what have you been doing with your life?
Wait, so nobody's gonna see Skypiea?
It was
was the best
Skypiea.
arc.
You can shut
Yeah,
up.
Wait, hold on.
Shut up.
Y'all going past East Blue. Talking about that Arlong Park walk, the walk to Arlong Park, where
was mad.
Nami's like, please
I'm with
help
Toasty.
me, Luffy. And then Luffy said, "You got it."
Cliche.
Solidified
What do you
fandom.
mean?
No, he's trolling.
That was it.
He's trolling.
That
That
was
moment is so good. That moment is so good.
It was
One Piece peak at Skypiea, obviously.
But people can enjoy Arlong Park and fall off in Alabasta. You know what I mean? They just like, you have to keep going.
He has
You
a
have to
point.
keep going.
He has a point.
I guess what he meant was like, if you got to Arlong Park, like, did you like it at that point? Did you say, wow, One Piece is really good? And then from there, it's like any man's game. Like, oh, well, you might not like Alabasta right after. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's the thing that 4Kids is like started behind the 8 ball is that like you can't really appreciate Alabasta until you've gone a lot further. You have no idea, like Skypiea I think is, a little polarizing, but like Skypiea is very long and a commitment. But
enjoyable.
you
You forgot enjoyable also.
But you can enjoy it if you keep going past it. And there's like a lot of that with One Piece. And I think it finally clicks what One Piece is in Water 7. I think that's when it finally like settles in, like, because it's hard to explain like what Alabasta is. Once you get to Alabasta and you're like, oh,
you cut off. You cut off Hooperlino.
Yeah, go back in the 10 seconds. Just start what you're saying again about Alabasta Water 7.
Oh, we
Hello?
might have lost him.
Did we lose him?
Maybe.
Oh,
We lost the Admiral.
We lost
I'm
the
I'm still
Admiral.
here.
Good.
I'm sorry.
No.
My connection's a little shaky right now. I might have to connect to something else. But just to wrap up what I was saying, One Piece is like teaching you kind of how to enjoy it along the way. And I do think it takes a while to get there to where you kind of like completely see what Oda is doing.
fair enough.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the only time One Piece really felt like it was dragging was during the Chopper era. Like
Why
that
y'all
was the
say
only
that
time.
about
I feel like
Chopper?
Why
I
are you
feel-
throwing
I-
Chopper under the
Yeah.
bus?
Chopper's great.
Thank you, Kame Chris.
I'm just,
Thank you.
Chopper's
I'm
great.
just saying everyone seems to have had like a really struggled time, but I didn't struggle that much. It was pretty fluid as far as like, you get Nami and then you get rescue Zoro, you get rescue Hanji. It's like it just kept going and it was just really like the pace was picking up. It didn't feel dragged out, and it didn't feel like the fights were like, I don't know, like didn't live up to anything. I felt like it was pretty cohesive. I didn't think any arc
All
was
right,
like
so when the Four
terrible.
Kids,
Huh?
all right, when Four Kids was bringing it over, it starts like this.
Again, I didn't watch Four Kids. I didn't watch Four
True.
Kids. Yeah.
True, and I think as you get older and you experience more things, it's like more digestible. But like back then, it went like, all right, here's 2 episodes of Buggy, here's 4 episodes of Captain Kuro, here's 6 with Krieg, here's 10 with Arlong, here's 5 with like Road Town, and then here's 50 with Crocodile Saga, and it became like just blew kids' minds. Like we weren't ready for that. You know what I mean? And I think they spend like 20 in the desert in Alabasta.
They dragged it.
When I go back now, love it. I'm like, this all makes sense. You know what I mean? They're building up Crocodile. He's the first, warlord they're going to take down. Like he deserves this kind of buildup. But like back then, or if you're experiencing One Piece for the first time, I don't know. It's like it is very new and might take a little digesting.
Is Chopper's arc before or after Alabasta?
It's
Before.
smack dab in the middle of the overall saga of
Yeah,
Alabasta.
it's the saga
Alright.
of Alabasta.
I hate it all, dude. I hate it.
I hated it.
You hate the Chopper?
You hate all of
Chopper's good.
Alabasta, like
Not-
everything encompassing it.
Not as much, but as a whole, yeah, more or less. I do.
Oh,
The blasphemy. I cannot accept
I'll tell you
this.
what, Chopper was one of, again, we can pinpoint a lot of the emotional moments in One Piece. I would like to think one of the first ones was like thinking about like that really kind of hammered it home was like, you know, Sanji, Chef Zeph had to eat his leg for Sanji.
That got me.
You know, Zoro is crying because he's not mad that he failed, that he lost to Mihawk, but that he's failing his captain, you know. And then Nami and her whole backstory. But Chopper's backstory was so sad. You know, he thought he poisoned the doctor, and you know, the doctor was already gonna die, and the doctor
no sad story beats Robin's.
I was just going to say
Okay,
That's an unfair comparison.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Water 7. Water 7.
was the best
Can of
one.
worms.
That was the second time I cried in anime.
Let's open up this can of worms. Favorite arc of One Piece, because
Water 7, hands
Enies
down.
Lobby. Enies Lobby.
All right. Okay. So Water 7 and Enies Lobby are in the same saga, but
Yeah.
they're very different arcs. You're not mix and matching, are you? Right.
I'm not mixing matching. Enies Lobby, I would say.
All right. Enies Lobby.
Water 7 is like a close second.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're both so good.
I mean, they're right
like,
next to each other. They're right next.
Here's
to
the
They're
thing.
right next to, but
I was gonna say pound for pound, I think Water 7 is better, like start to finish. The mystery of like who CP9 is really good. But god damn, do they hit you with the feels like at the end of Enies Lobby. Like when they hit you with Robin's backstory and like I mean I don't know where you kind of like put Soge King's like reveal.
He's in
whether you
Water
put
7 and Enies Lobby.
I mean,
Right.
he's like on the train, so he's kind of in between. But
Well,
it's
you know,
like,
the fight Luffy versus Usopp is
watch Water 7 too. I mean, they're both.
That's like the culmination of Water 7.
Yeah,
Water 7.
I'm saying Water 7 is so good, but the ending of Enies Lobby, where, I mean, I don't spoilers for people who aren't caught up and want to experience it for the first time. Like when they hit you with like the return of the Going Merry, and like Usopp comes through and like feels validated that he's a part of the crew, and then like Robin cries, and then the big battle between Rob Lucci. I mean, dude,
It was
it's
beautiful.
Yeah.
those back to back. That's peak One Piece, and I mean it's still very good, but that's the peak.
Yep.
Ooh.
For me, it's the same thing. I kind of lumped the two together just because a lot of the story threads bleed into each other. I like Enies Lobby and Water 7, I would say, is my personal favorite one too. I always tell people to read up to Arlong, and then if they like it, I say, oh, okay, you liked Arlong. Wait till you get to Enies Lobby and Water 7, because you're gonna lose it when you get there. And I mean, it was like Hooperlino was saying, I hate to agree with him, but as an admiral, but he's right. Like you have so many emotions going on in these two arcs. You have the whole thing with Robin betraying the crew, you know, on paper, and then you have the thing with Luffy and Usopp. You have the thing with the Going Merry. Not only that, the stakes were raised really high in Enies Lobby because this is the first time Luffy and his crew are against the government. They are outright making a stand against this evil world government. That I mean, like anyone that's caught with One Piece knows that these guys are pieces of shit.
Please don't forget Frankie. They
I'm
also
strictly.
introduced
Oh yeah, Frankie's very great.
Don't forget Frankie.
Yeah, we're sleeping on Frankie. But yeah, that's
Frankie too.
the
Don't
full
do that,
page
TevintheFifth.
shot.
Don't do that. Don't
The
do
full
that.
page shot of them standing on the rooftop and like declaring war, and like what they fired the
Iconic.
cannon.
Iconic.
When Robin says she
So
wants
good.
to live,
I want to live.
Soga King shoots the flag. Yes,
Yes, 100%.
Definitely
favorite art.
prolific
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm getting teary eyed right now.
I would like to throw into the mix. I mean, this is kind of a little later, but you know, yes, Water 7 Enies Lobby did a very good job at balancing multiple story threads at once, which I to this day I have no idea how they did that. If I'm looking at newer arcs, I'm a big fan of Dressrosa. And
Ooh,
I'm a
brave.
big fan of Dressrosa. I am a big fan of Dressrosa.
I will say this about Dressrosa. Now that you mention it, reading it weekly was a pain in the ass to get through. At least
watching
was even worse. Watching was even worse.
Terrible.
But I've heard, not only from Grandmaster Hoop, I've heard from multiple other people that once like reading it weekly or watching it weekly was a pain, but once you go back and now that all the chapters, all the episodes are, well, maybe you don't want to watch it, but if you want to read it, it's a more digestible arc and it has a lot of good themes in it that for some people like Grandmasters, this is their favorite arc. This is one of the good ones. So
I would split Dressrosa up into two kind of different arcs.
You technically can.
So you have like pre-Birdcage. You have pre-Doflamingo. Pre-Doflamingo making the cage and trapping everybody. Everything before that, excellent. So good. And then it's like it just started getting a little draggy. It just felt like but everything before that, I mean, it's pretty great. It is like it is probably like the Alabasta of like the New World, where they're really in one place for a good hot minute. But I mean, it's just like they really do a good job of like shaping that island. Maybe the best. I don't know. That felt like a fully realized island more than like I think a lot of ones they bounce around.
Yes, that island, with the guy, the soldier. I can't remember his name. The one who turned into the Tin Soldier, Rebecca, King. I want to say his name is Ryu or whatever. It was just, again, that's another one that juggled a lot of elements. You had the reintroduction of Sabo in that arc. You had your boy Law's backstory.
Trafalgar D. Law.
Yes, Water D. Law, man. You had
Who's there? Is it Fujitora?
Mind, man. Fujitora.
Fujitora too.
Fujitora came on the scene. Yep. Speak your mind, TevintheFifth.
You over there shaking your head in disagreement.
Well, I just want to say it's funny because I kind of put Water 7 in his Escape from Marineford. I put all those in my mind. I just put all those three together as like just the best.
It's peak One Piece.
Yeah, peak One Piece. But for me personally, my favorite parts are immediately after the time skip when they're on the the archipelago. Is that
archipelago?
Archipelago, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the whole Puma section. I like all of that. Like I really love that whole section.
Wow.
And I love everything with Big Mom. I can't believe you picked Dressrosa over the big
over Cake
the
Island.
Big Mom.
Over Cake
Island. Cake Island's good. Cake Island is good.
Cake Island is good,
yes.
man.
I mean, the best part of Cake Island,
Dressrosa, the outside of the barrier guy, I can't remember his name right now.
Bartolomeo.
Yep.
The Coliseum thing is kind of whack. I mean, not that it wasn't bad, but like that's okay. I don't know. I feel like the best part of Dressrosa is like Doflamingo. That
was one of
good
Oda's
backstory
favorite characters. Like just like creating, like he has previously said, compared to like his other work, like he really just loved Doflamingo and he just wanted to do his arc like really well.
Dude.
I think they did his arc really well. And again, there's levels to this and it really works really well, especially when you compare it to other animes. Like for example, Doflamingo's background makes a lot more sense than I think Madara Uchiha's, if you want to do the side-by-side comparison to like Naruto, whose One Piece is probably, one of the longest running competitors to One Piece for sure. I think that's easily argued. All right, let's just do a quick hot take. So let's just go around. Everybody just say their favorite arc real quick. So Dr. Jace, go ahead. That's what we're understanding.
Right. I lumped the two together because they're kind of the same to me, but Enies Lobby and Water 7. I just like everything with that.
Fair enough. I'm gonna stick to Dressrosa. Toasty.
Water 7 was really good. However, you guys were just kind of getting confused with nostalgia because Skypiea was right before that. So I think it was just Skypiea 2.0. But honestly, Arlong Park is the best for me. And that.
Okay. Right.
It's just amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's the last arc I read since I'm rereading the manga. And for me, I read those chapters and it just hit again, you know? Like the character interaction, the way they fought. It's so good, man. So good.
It's fair. That's fair. Arlong Park set up the 1v1s. It really did.
Yeah. So Skypiea, Arlong Park, Water 7, aka Skypiea 2.0.
All right. TevintheFifth.
Escaping the prison into the Marine Ford.
All right.
So
Impel down.
Impel down. That one.
Yeah,
prison.
Impel down. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Impel down.
Cool. Dr. Mondo.
And Whole Cake Island.
And he's lobby. Like, and maybe I think I can put them both together. And he's lobby Water 7, to be honest.
I think it's fine putting those together.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. Kame Chris.
I'm pretty split. It's either going to be Marine Ford for me, or I know we're not done right now, but this current
Don't say Wano. Wano.
This is probably my favorite right now. This is layers. This is layers.
Like an onion. Oh, I'm sure.
This is my favorite so far. I've been excited for every single chapter, every episode. Like, I don't know if y'all been watching the most recent episodes they released, but like that artistry they're putting into it now is ridiculous.
The anime is really picking it up with
crazy.
how they're animating it.
They're putting in the time into it because
I'm with the manga. So
You got it.
I'm with the manga too. I have not watched any. I'm all the way back at Whole Cake. I have not watched any Whole Cake. I've read it. I haven't.
Anime wise.
Just start watching right now. Like the last episode that just released, just start watching right now. I promise.
I could.
The art just started. The art, like, it's like movie quality. Like, I don't understand why they're doing that right now, but it's like every episode is movie quality. I'm like, oh, because this is like the best arc right now. It's like it's insane. Come on, y'all.
I actually understand, because like with Wano, at least for the anime, that was the shift where they decided to like change the art style.
Yeah.
They did, and it's. I mean, to me, it's their best art style that they've had in the anime.
It's kind of like the DBZ movies in a sense.
Yes.
It's very much is giving Dragon Ball Super Broly right now.
Yes.
Like very fast looking animation. Like,
yes.
You're expecting to see a lot of fighting.
Fluidity. Hooperlino. Go ahead. Favorite arc. I think you already made a point to say.
Oh no, I got more. I got my list here.
Oh. Okay.
Boy,
so I've been keeping a list since I've been reading One Piece. I've read it all. And I've watched all the way up to, I guess, Alabasta, when I fell off back in 2008 or whatever. So I'm strictly a manga reader. It goes 1, Enos Lobby, 2, Arlong Park, 3, Water 7, 4, Marine Ford, 5, Alabasta, and then I'll just say 6, Dressrosa, 7, Skypiea, 8, Whole Cake Island. That's the official list, hands down. I've done a lot of thinking about this.
I heard Skypiea, so that's a W with me. So good.
I feel people are not giving Fishman Island enough credit, but
I
like Fisher Tiger.
You know what? That kind of goes into what we were going to talk about next, right?
The worst arc.
Worst arc. 100% Fishman Island.
What?
Fishman Island. Hated Fishman Island.
Say it again, TevintheFifth.
I'm saying Red Hawk was a big moment.
Red Hawk was a huge moment.
Red Hawk was cool. I won't deny it. It was a cool moment. I liked it.
Like the arc starts out really funny. I just gotta say, like when the reunion of the Straw Hats, it's both touching and very funny with what happens to Sanji every time he sees women.
The running gag with Sanji.
The running gag with Sanji really picks up there.
On top of that, Dr. Mondo, we talked about this, his whole training.
No, it's like there was nowhere to go. I was surrounded. The only way was up. Hands down, one of the funniest moments.
That's
of
actually.
One
I
Piece.
think we're gonna.
That was
talk
good.
We're gonna talk about that. But okay, so what? I hear a couple of y'all say Fishman, which I think is wrong.
No, listen,
Dressrosa.
I'm
Hody,
gonna tell you this. I have never watched Foxy games. I've never seen Foxy games.
you know, okay, for Foxy,
I agree.
it's kind of like you go in already knowing, you know, it's gonna be trash in a way. It's the Foxy Pirates. There's no hype train. There's nothing going on with it to make you think there's anything more beyond just these stupid like little carnival games that they're playing. With Fishman Island, this was the first arc into the new world. And this was like the new world was like the new setup, the new, I guess, Grand Line 2.0 for the story. So expectations were high. We had a time skip with all of these characters. We were hyped to see what they learned, what they can do. And the arc was more or less just this is how OP the characters are. You know, they didn't really struggle in any of the major fights. The backstory for Hody Jones, the main villain, was
Forgettable.
it was forgettable. I don't
remember it.
It was very, very forgettable. And I mean, one of the things I like about One Piece, especially leading up to Marineford, was that as the arcs got, I guess, you know, they progressed, Luffy was having a hard time as they got, you know, as they progressed in the story. And that was an element that I liked about it, because early on, you had Luffy basically one-shotting everyone just to show how powerful he is. But the story keeps going further and further. They get closer to the government. Luffy's playing with the big boys now. And it was one of those things where he goes into a fight, you didn't know how it was going to come out. He can lose or he can win. You never, I mean, he was going to win. He was going to win at some point. But it was that uncertainty that I liked. Fishman Island eliminated all of that. We're back to square One Piece with Luffy. I mean, Luffy had somewhat of a hard time just because it's underwater, but no. Fishman Island, worst arc.
Oh man.
Okay, so according to my list here, the worst arcs are Little Garden, Whiskey Peak, Reverse Mountain, Captain Morgan, Davy Back Fight. So that's the official list. There'll be no more debates.
The official
Yeah, that's the official list.
All of those are horrible. And
all those are also like some of the shortest.
And a lot of those are in the beginning too. They're
but
I don't even know if you call them arcs or mini stories.
Fishman Island, it's kind of like you kind of went back. All like, yeah,
it was regression.
It was
regression.
It was regression.
And to compare it with like Wano, what we're doing now, it felt like Fishman Island was like hinted at since like Arlong Park, right? And so like there was years of buildup about like Fishman Island. I think they were talking about it in the archipelago before like everything happened on Marineford and stuff. And yeah, it just felt like they really just like swung and missed with the villain. Like Hody Jones is just like way down towards the bottoms in terms of like One Piece villains, which is a shame because like One Piece delivers with villains so much.
Yeah, that's what I love about every arc, the villains.
Yes,
that's fair, because Hody Jones is basically an Arlong follower.
But Arlong's like a top 5 villain. Probably.
I
Not
mean,
in terms of strength,
you're
just in terms
right.
of like
you're
impact.
right. But yeah, Hody Jones just tried to replicate Arlong. The thing I like about Fishman is the whole Fisher Tiger and her mother, the princess's mother background story. That to me was probably the best part of the Fishman Island. And I think that's what One Piece does a lot of very well in, is giving reason and sound to the backstories of a lot of these characters and a lot of these story points. I definitely don't look at Fishman Island and be like, yo, Hody Jones, he's that guy. Like, he's that water bullets. He's that guy, man. Like, no, I don't look at Fishman Island like that. I will say you are right. They needed to showcase that the Straw Hats did 2 years of training, and you know, they took on 1,000 fishermen or something.
Practically the entire city.
But they didn't give them a challenge worthy of all that training that they got. They really just one shot at everyone.
Do you think Usopp could have taken 100 fishermen out prior to the 2-year gap.
No, absolutely not.
So we needed
No.
to see it. We needed
But
to
We
see
needed to
King?
see it. Soge King.
No, Soge King nor Usopp could have done that.
Impossible. No.
Impossible.
And that's the thing that Fishman Island had against itself, because it was the arc right after the time skip, and we needed to see how strong these characters were. There was a time skip. We as readers wanted to be impressed. Like, Zoro's missing an eye. You know, is he gonna open it and a Sharingan comes out? Like, what's the deal with that? You know?
We still don't know. We still
don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I mean, yeah, like Fishman Island, maybe it should not have been the arc right after the time skip, because there was build up to it, and it should have maybe been the arc after, so that there could be that level of struggle. So you can see like, oh, this is Fishman Island. We've been hinting at this from like way many arcs ago. So I actually want to hear everyone else's worst
I
arc.
actually agree with that, dude. I thought I actually remember Fishman Island when you guys started talking about it, because I remember the princess, the pink mermaid, and I absolutely hated her guts, dude. The story was so slow.
You can't defend that, Grandmaster.
Dude,
She's cool. She can talk to the beast.
Yeah, what is she? She's a Neptune.
Dumb.
She's
Neptune. She's
Neptune. She's
one of the weapons.
The poneglyph. She's a poneglyph.
Not a poneglyph.
The
no.
weapon. She's the Pluton.
She's
a weapon.
Is it Pluton?
She's a weapon.
Yes, she's
I
a
think
weapon.
the word you're looking for is useless, but yeah, let's agree to disagree. No, I actually remember reading that thing, and it was so slow to me, because that was around the time I read it weekly. Because as you guys were talking about, I'm trying to remember more and more things that I actually read. Initially, I thought I stopped at Skypiea, but then I remember I read Robin, which came after Skypiea. Then you guys mentioned Fishman Island. I'm like, I definitely read that, because I remember the mermaid, and I remember getting bored and trigger every week just reading this thing, wondering, dude, it was aggravating. It was such a slow.
You would finish the chapter and you would just be clenching your fist.
That dude just aggravating. You know what? Time to jump on Naruto. But honestly, I think that was around the time I actually enjoyed Naruto more than One Piece, which is something to say about that, because Naruto story building is. Shippuden is pretty bad. Let's be real. Shippuden is really bad. That's not the conversation for today, but that arc after a time skip was garbage.
So from what you remember, Fishman Island, the worst arc. Is that what you're saying?
Just PTSD.
Oh my gosh.
You mentioned Fishman Island, I started sweating, dude.
All right, who else, real quick, before we move on to our next topic, who else is on this Fishman Island worst arc? Okay, Dr. Mondo. All right,
Tevin and Chris. Okay.
Kame Chris, you got one as the worst arc?
Yeah, it's definitely Dressrosa.
Oh, get out!
Yeah.
Okay.
The only time Dressrosa had the greatest moment was when Sabo got the fruit, when he got the Ace's powers. That was the only time I cared about Dressrosa. That was the only time I was like, oh my gosh, like this, oh my gosh, like full circle. After that, I'm like all I could hear when I think of Dressrosa, I just think of the theme music in the beginning and just seeing the bird cage constantly and people running away like every episode.
That's very reminiscent of the Namek saga with Goku and Frieza. This planet's gonna explode in 5 minutes.
Oh, and then 5 minutes
so
turns
bad.
into 50 episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Versus, he had to get back into Kong mode. That took like 5 minutes, and that took
was
like
peak.
20 episodes too.
That was second peak.
Whatever. Okay. All right. TevintheFifth, close us out in worst arc.
Well, y'all know I hate Alabaster, but outside of that, I would have to say it might be Punk Hazard for me.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, you know
Okay.
what?
You know,
with Caesar Clown.
Caesar Clown.
My favorite thing about Punk Hazard is
Oh, his laugh, the
His
unique
laugh.
laughs in One Piece.
That's it. That's literally all I like about Punk. Everything else, I'm just like, I didn't need it, but I love it. He has my favorite signature laugh out of the bunch. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
That's actually funny enough. I forget how dynamic a lot of their laughs are.
All unique. Not a single one that's the same.
I always do dare she, which I think is Jaguar D Soul.
Yes.
I think. Yeah,
Yes.
that's such a random one. That's the one I always remember.
That's like one of the most important laughs, right? Because
because he made Robin laugh, and then Robin does it too, and she's like,
"That's not a random one."
I mean, it's random in terms of overall scope of One Piece. Like, there's some bigger characters probably with.
Yeah, very important for Robin's story.
Yeah, no doubt. And funny enough, now that we're talking about laughs and that we covered the arcs, again, what is One Piece without story, which we have alluded to, talking about our favorite and worst arcs, but what is an arc without characters? One Piece is such a giant world and is full of such colorful characters. Do we have a favorite? Does anyone have a favorite One Piece character? And let's keep it narrow right now. We have 10 straw hats, right? 10 straw hats, that right?
Right, 10. Yeah.
Who's our favorite? 10, right?
No, 10. You're right. Yeah, 10.
Everybody's caught up, right? There's
Yep.
10. Officially, there are 10 straw hats. Who's everybody's favorite straw hat? Straw hats, for those who do not know, who are listening, straw hats are main character Monkey D. Luffy's crew, named after the fact that he wears a straw hat, handed down to him by Red Hair Shanks, who was handed down to by Goldie Roger, the former king of the pirates. We have the Straw Hat Pirates, who have been the main characters of the series. Do we have a favorite straw hat? Go ahead and let anybody chime in.
I'll start. We were talking earlier about how, like, what brought us back to One Piece. And I had like this long journey of being away from One Piece, and it took me a long time to come back. But like, one of the steps that brought me back was my cousin sitting me and my brother, who I lost a long time ago, down and like making us watch One Piece. We told her like, hey, we loved it. Like, it was cool, but like Alabasta was too long, so we stopped watching. She was like, no, One Piece is still very good. So this is years after Alabasta. This is in the heart of Water 7, right in the middle. She's like, just watch this part. And it's like Usopp's on a train and he's crying. And I don't really know the backstory. Maybe he's not crying, but he's like sad or whatever. He just feels like he's not strong enough. And I was like, poor Usopp. This makes sense for his character. So Usopp's like, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm no longer with the Straw Hat Pirates. Like, I'm out of here, guys. Like, Sanji, good luck with everything. I'm leaving. And then Usopp turns to walk away and he leaves the train. And then 1 second later, the theme song for Soge King starts playing, and it is clearly Usopp in this weird mask, pretending to be this greatest sniper of all time, and this weird theme song is playing for him, and he's like, and everybody on the train, I think Sanji's like, yo, that's totally Usopp. What is he doing? Should we just pretend we don't know it's him? Yeah, I guess just go for it. And just watching that, I was like, oh my God, this is so funny and so good. And Oda just completely knows how to use these characters and continue to evolve them. And I think in that moment, both made me want to think to myself, oh, wow, One Piece is still great. You know what I mean? It didn't just fall off with Alabasta. I might need to return to this. But also made me realize, Usopp's my favorite. Usopp's the best. Usopp's so funny. He's definitely not the strongest, but he just tries, man. He just tries. And he's hilarious. All his gags are the best.
Yeah, talking about Usopp, I know Dr. Mondo loves this too. God Usopp. Y'all want to talk shit about Dressrosa.
That is peak comedy. In
God
Usopp.
That was peak Dressrosa. That was peak Dressrosa.
What are they saying? The guy's dying. That is the best thing of Dressrosa.
One of the funniest scenes. Oh my god. The giant holding him up. He can't speak because he's so beat up. And then on top of that, Don Flamingo puts the biggest bounty on God Usopp. Above law, above Luffy, he says, kill this man. Usopp, another level. Oh my gosh.
100%. I would agree with Hooperlino. Usopp's my favorite character. I feel like he's the most relatable in some ways, just because I wouldn't say that he's the weakest, like in terms of strength. Okay, like fine, you have like Robin, Luffy, Frankie, they could probably whoop Usopp's ass, but Usopp brings such a level of reality to a lot of these fights and a lot of these scenarios where we're like, oh my God, that dude's lifting up the side of a mountain. I kind of want to leave. And that's Usopp. That's what Usopp does. And I relate to that. I'm like, bro, you guys do your thing, man. I'll come in and take the glory afterwards. And then, I love his character because he's like that in those tense moments, but then in the quiet ones, he's talking all this crap, like speaking a big game, like he's the highest one with the bounty. I love it. I love it. You have your badasses, you have Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, you have them, but I like Usopp because he's just so different from all of them. And Usopp can hold his own in a fight, like he has his own like kit and everything with the slingshots and the plants and the different weaponry he has. But I think he's so unique to the crew that he's my favorite, 100%.
I think in my I'm gonna break off from that. Like Usopp, I love him. I think he's my second favorite, but my favorite I think is Zoro for me.
Zoro. I was gonna say
badass
Zoro.
Zoro.
No, like not only one, he's badass as hell. Two, he's also funny with his horrible sense of direction where he gets lost everywhere, and that's just hilarious. Like the stairs are right in front of him and you just see him going the other way. But also he's also like a great friend and a great like second mate. Like I think it was Thriller Bark where he offered to take all the pain, like take
all the
up
pain.
all
the pain.
all of Luffy's
Yeah.
pain, and he just stood there and
He ate it.
like he ate it, stood there, but he was just standing the entire time. He didn't drop down, and it was just like, wow, this guy is like, he's beyond badass, but it's like he's also like extremely honorable and also funny to like the ridiculous part. But yeah, Zoro would be my favorite, and Usopp is my second one because like the dose of reality, Usopp, and yeah, those are my two.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that Zoro bit because I was thinking about Zoro's got to be my favorite because the thing is they all have a dream, but Zoro's the only one who like puts Luffy's dream like really above his own, to where it's like his dream is to be the greatest swordsman, but now his dream is really to be the greatest swordsman so he can make sure his captain becomes
the pirate king.
Becomes the pirate king.
Yeah.
And at so many moments Zoro has like shown that, like, and if you're caught up when he stepped up to Kaido. He laid a good blow. He did. However, he's like a cactus right now. And I just think Zoro has proven himself. Yeah, he's just a good first mate, and he's so loyal to Luffy all the way. And I don't even know if it's all the way warranted, because all Luffy did on their initial meeting was like, hey, you want to join my crew? Luffy didn't say anything really profound. He's just being Luffy, and he's like, I can't believe this guy wants me, a pirate hunter, to be on a pirate crew. And I guess that rang true to Zoro. Zoro's got to be my top for sure. And then I'm a sucker for Frankie. I'm gonna throw Frankie's name into the mix. Stop that, TevintheFifth. Frankie is a gentleman, man, and Frankie is like masculinity at its peak, and he's so freaking funny, man. Like when he had that little battle with the baby dude in Dressrosa, hilarious. I love Frankie. Frankie's so freaking funny. I'm sorry.
Like, really, all the Straw Hats are just hilarious in their own right. To be honest,
yes,
all of them.
For me, I would say like they all have a certain, like, there's probably like 3 that I have like favoritism for certain situations. Like, if I want to laugh, like if I think someone's hilarious, I actually think Brooke's the funniest, because it's just his gag of like, he says something like, "Oh, the skin eating flesh is this like disease is gonna kill me. Wait, I'm already dead. And I'm just full of bones." Like every time it just kills me. And then as far as like, I would say just as far as like mannerisms, I would say Sanji, only because he's just so nice as far as to like how he, you know, he makes sure everyone eats, you know, he makes sure girls don't get hit at all. Like that is just not a thing. And if it does happen, he's like there in 0.3 seconds. And he's literally the only one that can, like, other than Luffy in the Gear 4, he's the only one that can like walk on air. Like he's the only one that can like actually fly. Like I think that's like his like biggest characteristic that I'm just like, oh, this is amazing. And then the reason why he got it was even better. It was even better. I love every part of that. But and then I would say Zorro would be like the third, just because of his like mysterious strength. Like I feel like everyone's just curious about Zorro. Like, is he just gonna like come out and say like exactly where he came from, or like exactly what all his origins are? Because like there's no reason for him to be this strong, like, and keep fighting so hard for Luffy. Like there's gotta be something else. But I think that's like what keeps him so cool. Like he just stays so mysterious, and every time he gets stronger, we're just like, how is he able to keep up? And all we do is see him lift like 3 tons worth of weight every day, like when he's on the ship. I don't know what else he does. You know?
That's pretty much all he does.
But yeah, those are definitely my favorites, I would say.
Mine are actually very similar to yours, which is funny because growing up as a kid, my favorite was Sanji. You know, I like the fact he would just be kicking people in the face, and you know, the hands is for cooking only. Like I don't use my hands for fighting. You know what I'm saying? My all-time favorite is Luffy. You know, he's just like a lifestyle. You know, adventure and food. You know, what was like, you know, that's all. Luffy don't.
Yeah.
He just want to live. He just want to live and be free. And you know, I like that. But as of recently, who's been creeping in? Brooke did something for me when he went against Big Mom. I don't know what it was. I have never been like a Brooke fan for real, but when they were fighting and he was trying to get to that the opponent glyph, like I don't know, it was pretty exciting.
It hit different.
It did. I never really, like I said, like the jokes are funny, but he never really did it for me like that until like he's like, no, I'm a part of this crew. I'm gonna get this. My captain said, get this, handle this business. Like this is Big Mom. Like, like mom, like oh my, oh like yeah. Oh yeah, so that's it. My 3. That was my 3.
Okay.
I guess I'm next. For me, definitely Zoro. He's just a badass character. That's it. The man holds a sword in his mouth and fight. I mean, what else can you ask for?
And he can speak clearly with the sword in his mouth as well.
Obviously, dude. Obviously. But honestly, no. It's definitely Zoro, just because he's just an awesome character. I don't know why, but he just seems to be, in my opinion, he's definitely the strongest out of all of them. Just
stronger than Luffy?
Yeah, at least the strongest regular person in the world. Because he doesn't have any special thing. Luffy has the gum thing, and that's the only reason Luffy hasn't lost is because most of the time he got attacked, the attack just bounced off of him. Zoro takes the attack and then returns it 10 times to the enemy. So I think that's way better than Luffy. God forbid Zoro get a fruit later on. This one is going to become a god.
Oh gosh. I can't even imagine what
nobody
fruit he
thinks
would
about
get.
this. Yeah, he's going to become a god. He's going to become the best out of all of them. I mean,
what fruit would you give him?
Honestly, I feel like it would be badass if he had lightning, but
wow.
Yeah, lightning.
I was thinking the
I
same
would say
thing.
Sanji would fit that a lot better. I would say Sanji would be.
Sanji
a lot,
wants the invisible fruit.
Yeah,
for the dumbest reasons, though.
He's a perv. I'm sure he's a perv. I'm not even caught up, but I know he's the first, so that's the only reason he would need it. But lightning with Zoro, I feel would be badass.
Well, your boy has to die. You want to keep, hyping up Skypiea.
Somebody gotta die. I mean, it's a required sacrifice. I'm sure he will be missed, but he's a stepping stone for Zoro. So, no, but I'm sure there's some kind of different like kind of lighting. The same way we have fire, magma, and the different type of like fire thing. They could do something like that because I could see it right now. Zoro slashing somebody open, and you see lightning bolt flying around. That'll be badass. But for me, Zoro's the best character. He's the strongest just because he does more than anybody else with nothing. That's why I think he's the best.
Yeah, he got to that status with just sheer determination and ambition.
And just him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a regular dude. So, yeah, that's my ranking.
Yeah, I think Zorro and, a handful of characters like Shanks and Mihawk show you don't need a fruit to be, just this prolific pirate on these seas. Are there any other characters, not talking Straw Hats now, that come to mind as far as your favorite? And let's just
Buggy.
do a quick Buggy. Okay,
Buggy.
let's do
Buggy
it a quick hot
King.
take. So we got Buggy. Let's just go around. So we got Buggy. Everyone just shout it out.
Odin.
Say again.
Odin.
Oh my gosh.
You're really standing Wano, man.
Yeah, look at you.
I'm telling you, Odin's my favorite. The moment he was introduced, my favorite character, hands down. Yeah. And the backstory is even better. Like, the entire thing being about him, it makes it even better. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing.
All right. I mean, his backstory was pretty good, but okay. Anybody else? Hot take, real quick.
Honorary Straw Hat Vivi.
Oh, Vivi.
Oh, okay. That's your favorite. Wow.
Law. Trafalgar Law.
Okay, Law.
Trafalgar Law.
You went from Vivi to Law. Very different on the spectrum. Vivi to Law. But
Surgeon of Death.
Honestly, I would say my favorite. Okay, this one is really not based on like the character itself, just more so like what I think they could be capable of. Borsalino. Borsalino. He
my namesake.
You right, exactly. After Hooperlino, he's the admiral that ate the light fruit, or the Pika Pika. I think it's called Pika Pika no Mi. I mean, a devil fruit that's based off of light, like as in you travel at the speed of light, you fire blast at the speed of light. To me, the possibility, I mean, watch it be like something ridiculous with the power that is just, like he's so lazy that he doesn't really, know how to use the power to his capabilities. But I just like that character so much, and he intrigues me because his personality is the exact opposite of what the fruit entails. The fruit is something really fast and very quick. He is very slow. He's very lazy. He doesn't like to do his job. I don't know. I would say Borsalino, just because there's like an aura of mystery behind him.
I'll throw in, and this, this comes back to like why Dressrosa is a little underrated. How do you pronounce it? Is it Bartolomeo? All right, so like at the end of the day, like Dressrosa gives Luffy his grand fleet. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
At the end of the day, that's what it's building towards, and I think that's like kind of plays into like why it's so long. But he's the best. He's so funny. He's just like a fanboy of the Straw Hats, right?
He is exactly a fanboy.
So funny, just such a fun character. You don't see that in any other manga, any other anime. Like, just such a brilliant idea, and he's just so funny, and the gags he gets are hilarious.
I would like to see more Smoker.
You know what?
Smoker.
I was gonna say Smoker too. I really was.
I like Smoker.
That's your favorite? Both of yours?
He was one I was considering.
Okay. He was the original rival, to Luffy. Like, it was building up to him being the rival, and then he kind of just fell off. I would like to see more Smoker too. Yeah.
I don't think his arc's over. I think he still has a.
He still has a chance.
Future.
Well, he's in recovery, right? Because Doflamingo almost wiped him out.
Vertigo,
yeah, that whole arc, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, didn't you say you don't like Punk Hazard?
I don't.
That was a heavy Smoker arc. Okay.
It was. The Smoker was in there for a while.
I'm seeing some little cracks in your little your dissertation. That's fine. Let me just throw a little wrench into the cog. I'm gonna say Blackbeard. God forbid. He's a good villain. And honestly, he's only done really two really big things, in my opinion, that have shaken up the world. Beating Ace and then stealing Whitebeard's his freaking fruit power, man. What's going on?
Is Blackbeard the end game?
Blackbeard is in game.
He is end game, 100%.
Over Akainu?
Blackbeard and Akainu are in game.
I would say kind of mixed together.
Because
They
Akainu
can.
is end game for the Marines. Blackbeard is end game.
So you think he's going to beat them at the same time? There has to be an end game.
Not the same.
2v1.
Whatever. Him and Blackbeard are two of the same coin. They're same side of the coin.
I would say Blackbeard. I get what Hooperlino's saying. I would say Blackbeard is end game, like after Akainu.
Yeah, Blackbeard is end game, like full end game.
Blackbeard is just that last obstacle he's got to get the.
Have you guys heard Eddie Shanks' theories about that? Shanks could be end game. Fan theories about that.
If Shanks is in game, that's the same thing as Yugi versus Atem or Yami Yugi at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh. That's the same thing. The student has to beat the teacher.
It could be.
Not that.
It feels like we're building to this ending, but at the same time, it feels like we also have a long way to go.
I mean, I'm sure we do. This thing's never gonna end.
For sure.
I mean,
they got a good 10 years left.
Wano, I don't even know how Wano's gonna end. I mean, they're at that point where it's like, Luffy, wake up. You got to keep fighting. And we've seen that plenty before.
So many times.
But let's go ahead. Let's talk about this. So, we're talking about our favorite characters. And I'll come back to this because I know Dr. Jace wants to talk about y'all's favorite entries. But let's talk about this. We're talking about our favorite characters. We're talking about what it means to be, have characters that are grounded in reality. Let's go outside of reality and let's talk about, one element that really separates One Piece from a lot of other animes, or I guess this gives One Piece its gimmick. Let's talk about the
identity.
Identity, sure, yes. Let's talk about the devil fruits. All right. And the devil fruits, for those who are new to One Piece or maybe just need a refresher, devil fruits give the pirates, the admirals, any entity, any person in One Piece just these astronomical powers. And it's a fruit. You eat the fruit, you get the powers. And so there are many fruits. However, there's, from what we've seen, one fruit, right? No one has had the same power as another person at the same time, right? That hasn't been seen yet. Okay, just want to establish that. So these powers, they differ in three categories. We have Logia, which is based on elements. So, for example, we've seen, and when we say element, they become the element. Their body is the element. So we've seen smoke, fire, magma, light, ice, sand. So if you can think of an element, that's Logia fruit. We have Zoan type. Zoan is you transform into an animal or a creature or a thing, and they can be legendary, they can be real, they can be ancient, and we've seen them from the human fruit. We've seen the ox fruit, the leopard,
the dog fruit,
the dog fruit. We've seen things like the Chinese dragon, the dinosaurs, which the dinosaurs have their own subcategory of dinosaurs, the phoenix, the falcons, the jackal, so many. But with the animal Zoan types, they usually can be broken into three. They can transform into three variations of that animal, one being very human-esque, one being that animal, and then one just being an OP combination of the three, right? That's right? The OP combination. And then lastly, we have the Paramecia, which is kind of the one that's kind of like in its own realm, because it's similar to a Logia where you become that thing, but it's more or less just transforms your body to where your body is still your body, but it's like that thing. So for example, the gum fruit where you become rubber. We've seen people become wax. We've seen people become just slippery to where everything slips off them.
You got some silly fruits in there for sure.
We definitely have some silly ones. The barrier fruit, that's a paramecia where you can make barriers, which doesn't necessarily change your body, but again, a lot of this is limitless and what you can do in the aspects. Let's go ahead and talk about these. Who do you think is the strongest fruit? What is your favorite fruit? Let's just talk about this in whole. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the floodgates. It seems that these fruits are forever changing as far as the capabilities of them. I would like to say Zoan is pretty freaking strong from what I've seen. It would seem the hardest battles they've had have been up against Zoan type users, to be honest. And anybody can combat that or contest that, but just look at Kaido, because again,
Rob Lucci too.
Rob Lucci, you find the right Zoan type of fruit, and you're gonna have a problem. You know, I could find the reindeer fruit, but over there on other island, there's like the mega reindeer fruit, where you're just a better reindeer. So I like to think Zoan is up there. Just look at Kaido, man. Look at Kaido and look at all his crew. Kaido, for those who are listening, turns into a giant mythical Chinese dragon, and he's nigh unstoppable. And we haven't even seen his hybrid form. We have not seen that. We have not seen that. So
I would say Zoan types probably going to be the strongest, and that's only because they sometimes have like other abilities. It seems like as far as like the Phoenix, like I mean that's like considered fire if you ask me. So or like a Kaido breathing fire, like I don't know, I mean they get like way more abilities than it's just some regular Logia. Like I feel bad for Ace, but like he was just not gonna make it. Like he was just not gonna make it. There was no way. There's too many Zoan types that like are ridiculous. I feel like we have yet to see like some really crazy ones. I think Kaido is probably the craziest one right now, but I think there still could be some that we haven't really experienced yet, because there's so many combinations you can do. So I feel like we're going to find one that's like steel dinosaur or something. It's going to be something ridiculous. Like every scale is like hockey times 100. I don't know. I feel like we're just going to run into something even bigger when it comes to Zoan types.
Real quick, since you mentioned that, freaking Sengoku, the former admiral, the head of the admiral, he turned into Buddha. He turned into a freaking Buddha.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
So large.
There's no logic to these fruits. I mean, that's what I like about One Piece. You don't really like there is a rule set to the fruits, but then you get stuff like you get stuff that just surprises you. You're like, oh wow, I didn't expect that to be a power. Like the Buddha. What is that? You turned big into a giant Buddha, and okay.
You're a god. You're a golden god. Goodness gracious.
Exactly. I mean, if I were to say like what would be my favorite, I just like the Logias. Like Zoans are cool and everything, and I do admit their strongest opponents have been so far. I mean, like you said with Kaido, have been with Zoan type users, but I don't know. I always feel like Logias hit differently. Like when you see someone like become that element of whatever they are, I don't know, you get kind of hyped, like because early on, you know, I mean, I know been talking a lot of crap about Alabasta, but when Crocodile came into the mix, I was sitting there thinking, how is Luffy gonna fight this guy? How is he can't touch him. He can't touch him. And then, you know, 4Kids said like, oh, my sweat can touch him. So I mean, yeah, so they do find a workaround. It was a good substitute. Like if you think about it, he should lose every fight then, because what fight are you not sweating?
True.
But
he said it's really hot down here.
I'm
sweating.
We're in the desert. But I mean, like Logia's, I don't know, man. It's just fire, magma. It's just cool, man. And I guess if I were to narrow it down, it kind of goes back to who my favorite character is. The light fruit, the Pika Pika no Mi. I think that fruit potentially, because we don't know the entire rule set with it yet, but that has to be the most powerful fruit. Like speed of light. I mean, come on. But yeah, I would say Logia's and then the light fruit.
I would go with Logia. And I think my favorite Logia, God Eneru's like lightning. That is just ridiculous.
Lightning.
Like the only reason the guy loses is because, oh yeah, Luffy's rubber. That's it.
Fatal flaw. Fatal flaw to Logia.
Flaw.
They all have a weakness.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
But come on, like God Eneru can just destroy anything and just burn it to a crisp. He can move at the speed of light, just like the Admiral. It's like he can do anything. And he's just about like. But Logias are so versatile, I would say. But yeah, they have that one weakness, but they can work around that weakness. But I would say they're the hardest to go up against. They're when it comes to the different types, because you actually have to find the weakness of the Logia. Try to find it. If not, well, good luck with that.
No, and I mean, I agree too, because like, funny enough, when I was reading Skypiea the first time and we found out that Eneru had the lightning power, entire arc, I was like, oh my God, how is Luffy gonna fight this guy? You know, because in the last arc we had Crocodile, he hit him with water and then he hit him with blood later, and that's how he was able to like land hits on him. The entire arc, I was completely oblivious about how he was gonna fight him, and then once Eneru actually attacked him, and it didn't work, and at that moment it clicked. I'm like, oh, he's made of rubber. It wasn't clicking, but yeah. I just want to throw that in there.
I'm pretty sure Eneru, even at the point that he was introduced, he was stronger than the majority of the characters, even like in the second part of One Piece. Like
easily.
Eneru can one shot almost everyone at One Piece, I'm pretty sure. But Luffy's made out of rubber. That's it.
Fatal flaw.
Yep.
Fatal flaw.
I'll give some love to the Paramecias. I think Luffy's great. I mean, Luffy's like the best. You know what I mean? Like Luffy's going to be the king of the pirates. Like, and he's like, I think at the end of the day, One Piece does this great job of making it more about your own personal skill as much as it is about having like these great devil fruits and stuff. Like Luffy's winning his fights because he's more resourceful, you know, he's like more savvy. He eventually comes up with like a strategy that wins, you know what I mean? So it's like, it might all equal out in the end, you know, some might give you a head start, but you know, I think Luffy's proving time and time again that like, you know, that you can use Paramecia to take on anybody. And then I just want to shout out two other Paramecias. Buggy the Clown, don't sleep on him, man. Don't sleep on him. We were talking about Endgame a little earlier. Don't sleep on Buggy the Clown.
You think Buggy's Endgame after Black?
Hey. Don't sleep on Buggy the Clown. It's all, he was a warlord. He was part of Goldie Rogers' crew. This is not somebody you should trifle with. And then of course my friend Bellamy, the hyena. Great Paramecia.
Spring fruit?
That was one of my favorite powers.
Wait.
That was one of my favorite powers.
Yeah, one of my favorite. Yeah.
Dr. Mondo, I already know where you're going. I know
the
where you're
other
going.
Paramecia fruit that's really cool is Law's fruit.
Is Law's
fruit is so fucking good.
Boom.
You know, funny enough, Law's fruit is called the op fruit, but if you were not reading it, it's the OP fruit.
Yep.
Because it is OP.
It
like
is.
if you're in the room, that's it.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
If I can't beat you, let me just switch your heart with somebody else and then drown that person. And then you're in that body, so you're technically drowning. And then it's over. He could do anything. He could do
anything. In the room, Law is invincible. In the room he creates.
Yeah.
He's invincible.
Actually, you know, people forget about Law when it comes to paramecia. So
All I'm saying is if the spring fruit got into the right hands and went into that non-dreaming Bellamy the hyena, that'd be a very powerful fruit. It was just in the wrong hands.
Hey,
Yeah, for sure. I'll second that.
Bellamy the hyena, another great part of Dressrosa. We never thought we'd see him again. So
Originally from Skypiea.
originally right before Skypiea, yeah.
Greatest arc. But I might as well go. For me, it's definitely the Logia fruit, which is like the element. That one is the best. Smoker, Crocodile, Ace, all of them were just amazing character. You know, like I like seeing it. You know, like you guys mentioned before. I'm not gonna repeat it. All of those characters, they have to find a way to beat them, which is really good. Of course, we had Luffy with the sweat/blood with Crocodile. You had Ace, different story how he died, but all of those power, the way they use them, in my opinion, it's basic. It's the minimum that the author can do, but he does them so well that it is enjoyable. Fire has to be the most basic element you ever see in any kind of show where they have some kind of element. Even Demon Slayer now, fire. JoJo, they had the fire dude. Mohammed, whatever his name was.
Don't
Abdul.
speak bad on Mohammed.
Yes, my dude.
Abdul.
It's the most basic of element, but the One Piece author made it work. Even the smoking stuff. I mean, who would have thought that smoke was a power from a cigarette? Like, who would have thought of that? Like, that's pretty badass. And of course, even Crocodile with the sand is way better than that villain from Spider-Man.
Sandman?
Sandman. Yeah, same power. Same
So you're
concept.
comparing it.
But because technically speaking, they have the same power.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but Crocodile is such a more, I guess he's such a better villain just because of the way he uses his power compared to goddamn Sandman. Like, Sandman might as well put me to sleep, dude. I remember that movie. It was horrible. I mean, not the movie. The
Don't go
character
off
was
of the
horrible.
movie.
But not the movie. The character was horrible. But that's what it is. Elements are basic, but it's what the author does with them, which is so good. So I have to go with that. The Flame fruit, goddamn badass. That's why they brought it back.
Yeah. Before we started talking, I thought I was team Logia, but I think I'm team Paramecia. I really like Law is my favorite fruit. I think it's pretty dope. I like Big Mom's, the soul fruit. I think that's dope as hell. And you can just never go wrong with the quaking. You know, somebody piss you off, you know, wow, and you can't start breaking. Yeah. Whitebeard had a dope ass devil fruit. Like that shit was cool. I ain't gonna.
No, he did. He did. I mean, the whole thing with him like tilting the world, or I guess the island.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild. You're like, what? How does that work? But he did it, and he was a Paramecia user. Yeah.
And see, I feel Paramecia really does work in that gray area to where if it is not Logia and if it is not Zoan, it thus has to fall.
It's easily the most unique, like the unique subset of all the devil fruits, because you never know what you're gonna get. It's everything.
It's so random. Look at Robin. What? So at first she can multiply.
What is this?
She can multiply her limbs, and then she just makes giant limbs. You know, like where did that come from?
It works. I'm telling you, if I lived in that world and I ate that fruit, I would be pissed. Because I'll be like, bro, this is dumb. But he makes it work. He makes it work.
Like one of the most random, this one's I think a Zoe and Choppers, the human fruit.
The human fruit, yeah.
Like if a normal human eats the human fruit, he just forgets how to swim.
That's all.
Swim.
He doesn't gain anything.
He gains a peak human perfection.
Of course.
Like enlightenment, something like that. But it's like you just like now you can't swim anymore. Oh my god.
I'm trying to think of like other outlandish ones.
It's the giraffe.
The giraffe. Don't sleep on the dude.
I'm so pissed. I'm gonna be so pissed off.
He was pissed off. You remember when he was?
He was.
No,
He was so pissed off.
Brooks fruit that doesn't give him anything in life. It's like it's useless in
It
life.
gives him a
but-
revive, a free
but-
revive.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you just died. Now you're immortal.
I mean, hey, he just had to
No,
wait till he died, though. So
Yeah, but I imagine like Brooke when he took it the first time, it's like, what the fuck? It's like,
Well, bro, that sucks. I hope I don't die.
like, well, now I can't even swim. And it's like, oh, okay. I'm a skeleton now.
I can't think of any others that come to mind that are just like, this is a useless type of power. But everybody makes it work.
Soap
Every-
lady.
Say who?
The soap lady.
The soap lady?
Alvita, the slippery.
No. He said
Oh.
the soap Khalifa
Oh, okay.
from CP9.
From CP9, right.
What did she turn into bubbles? Right?
It's something weird like that.
Whoever Nami was fighting. That
Yeah,
chick.
her.
Right, her,
Khalifa,
yeah.
She like turned into bubbles or something.
Lame.
I mean, now Alvita though, the slip fruit.
That's
so
just
stupid.
dumb.
She just slides around, slips around. But
She
weapons
lost all her body weight.
She did lose all
like
her
a,
body
yeah, it was a
weight.
side effect for some.
I think they were just they weren't trying to fat shame, I guess, anymore because they were
So they had her
Oh.
lose all her weight.
No,
Yeah.
there was one like the jacket fruit. The jacket fruit. I think it was in Dressrosa. The guy just turns into a jacket.
Oh
And
my
if you
god,
wear-
yes.
And if
Yeah.
you wear him,
In the
And if you-
Coliseum,
and if
yeah.
you like, and if someone like puts him on someone, like he can control their movements. But if not, it's like he just turns into a jacket.
Dumbest. Imagine you ate that. Imagine. Listen, the caveat to a lot of these fruits is that when you eat it, you don't know what you're going to get. So you could be
Yeah.
busted. You could be like, I think like the Logias are kind of more obvious a little bit because they kind of like the flame frame fruit looks like it has fire on it. It looks like it has fire. But the Paramecias, good luck. And the Zoans too as well. So
But yeah, I think the jacket fruit like really takes the cake
100%.
as one of the most useless fruits.
Oh my! I don't even remember that one. Oh my god!
That
and
reminds
your
me of,
favorite art,
Kinemons.
your favorite art for some reason.
That makes
That's
me
like
wonder
a-
if the jacket would float on water, or it would have just sank.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm
It
pretty
was-
sure he would react to the water and just like
You know
stop
what?
drowning.
That's probably what.
What were you saying,
Well,
Kame
oh.
Chris?
I was saying, it reminds me of Kinemon's devil fruit power, like to make clothes. I swear I would cry if I got something like that. I'd be like, "Are you serious?
No, but
I can make
also-
clothes from a rock? Okay, yeah, sure." Let me pull out my sword anyway.
Very. I forgot Kinemon even had a freaking devil
Yeah.
fruit.
That's
He
how
does.
forgettable
He
and
does.
terrible
Has
it
one.
is.
Is bad.
no, but like actually, one of the other really good devil fruits is a Logia. It's the ice fruit because it's basically the only one that can kind of nullify the weakness of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
The ice fruit is the only one that can nullify that weakness to a certain extent.
Well, technically, magma, I guess too, because magma creates solid rock on top
True.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, right. He would be kind of. Well, that's why they're rivals. They made Punk Hazard, just like that.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That would have been a
Definitely
dope
Punk
battle
Hazard.
to animate, but well, they never did.
We'll see it in a flashback.
maybe.
Hopefully,
maybe.
I really hope so.
So here we are talking about these fruits, right? And that's One Piece's identity, is that it's the fruit. If you were a character in the show, you would definitely want a fruit, despite not being able to swim. Or I mean, you could go the route of not having a fruit.
A lot of
But-
characters do that, and they're still
do.
OP. They're still
They
busted.
do. Now, here's how we get into really good storytelling, right? And you can contest this if you want, but Oda alluded to a higher power than just the fruits from an early on stage, but really took hold in the post time skip era, and that is hockey. And hockey is kind of divisive in a way among the fandom. I know some people don't necessarily like the inclusion of hockey. And for the regular fans listening right now, hockey is basically I don't even know, Dr. Jace. How would you describe hockey? Where does hockey sit in the world of like anime and power-ups? What is hockey?
I mean, more or less, it's kind of like, so like there's 3 different levels of hockey, right? There's Conqueror's hockey, which in a way, it's kind of basically only the strongest characters usually have Conqueror's hockey, and it's a way to kind of just get rid of fodder. You know, you walk into a room and there's like 1,000 henchmen around you, and it's kind of like just this stare that you give, and based on the stare, the entire room starts having seizures, right? So that's Conqueror's hockey. There's Observational hockey. That one is more so kind of like just being very perceptive, you know, being able to see certain things. Like, I wouldn't say it's like, I guess kind of like foresight a little bit. You see something coming at you, you kind of see it a couple steps ahead. Kind of like the Sharingan from Naruto. I don't like making that comparison, but you basically are more aware of your surroundings. So if there's someone about to punch you from the back of the head, you kind of have that spatial awareness around you that, oh, this guy's going to punch me in the back of the head. I better move out of the way or counter it. And then there's Armament hockey. That's the one that I felt like Oda really wanted to interject into the story. And basically, it's a way to kind of like, I guess, boost up your abilities, like your physical abilities, to make your hits land a little bit harder, make them land a little bit stronger. But it's a way for the character to basically fight up against characters that have these really busted devil fruits, right? So characters like, for example, Inuru, the lightning guy, with a character with hockey can actually fight someone like Enel, right? Because he has lightning, and you think, oh, wow, well, how am I going to touch him? He's lightning. With Armament hockey, you can actually fight someone like that. That's not going to say you're going to win. You're probably still going to lose, but it's a way for you to do it. And I think Oda injected that element to the story so that he could put some of these characters on more equal grounds with some of these busted type of characters that we were getting introduced to. Mostly the Logia types, because pre-hockey, if you were to ask me how are they going to beat someone like Barcelino, who has the light fruit, I would say, dude, like, I don't know how. how are you going to move faster than light? I don't know how that's going to work. So, but with hockey, I still don't know how that's going to work, but it's more believable now. You can see like, okay, he just needs to land a hit on him. So that's how I would like kind of summarize hockey as a whole and like how it's in the series.
Thank you.
Yeah, it feels
That's a
like
wonderful explanation.
It feels like a necessity. You know what I mean? Like One Piece, like we keep saying this, but like it's legit been going on for like 25 years now. And, you know, this was kind of introduced like halfway through. I mean, you just can't keep having Luffy throwing water on sand and then hitting the sand. You know what I mean? That can't be the story of every single fight. You know, I think in terms of like these action fighting anime, you know, I think when you watch like something like Naruto and like early on, it felt like Naruto probably did have like the edge in terms of like, you know, these epic battles, because like I think Oda almost put himself in a corner. You know, he gave these people specific powers, and you'd have to get creative with those powers in order to kind of like have a winner. And I think with hockey, like it opens up the door, both in terms of like, you know, giving people additional options, but like, you know, I think giving, you know, like you were saying, just like different characters, like even a fighting chance to even like do something against some of these OP elemental Logia types.
What they saying? What they got against
They're basically trying to say hockey is like an equivalent type power up to, say, for example, when you had Dragon Ball, the series, Dragon Ball was just like get stronger, do some different kind of moves, and, you know, use your key energy. And then they're trying to now kind of say that Hockey is similar to Super Saiyan, you know, or that level of type of power up, to where instead
It's a
of
transformation. Like
yeah,
they didn't have that before in Dragon Ball. Like they kind of had it, but they really didn't. So
yeah.
they kind of compare that on the same level with hockey. Like
I would not ever compare that with hockey. That is so.
I don't think I'd
awkward.
compare it either, but yeah.
I think hockey
That's so
hockey has a lot
awkward.
more depth to it.
for sure, yeah.
Well, hockey's like so back to like, if you go back to like old Chinese, like, you know, back to Journey of the West type deals. If you look at every anime, there's always been like spirit involved in it. Like they call it like, you know, anytime you have some like extra power that like only a human can get, they always call it spirit. They did it in Dragon Ball. They do it all the time. Like it's, I don't know how they like actually like I feel like it was supposed to be what, you know,
Like ki or chakra.
yeah, like
in
Kaioken.
Naruto.
It was supposed to be like Kaioken. Like hockey was supposed to be what Kaioken was supposed to be
Right.
in Dragon Ball. Like it was supposed to be a whole nother, you know, technique that anyone could do, but only Goku ended up doing it. But anyway, it was as far as like hockey goes, and just the general like basis of what each, you know, hockey does. It's very much just based off of like the old Chinese spirit, like, oh, like it's in your soul. You have to become one with yourself. It takes years of training to get something, to get to such a point of enlightenment, and you will not be able to achieve this without talent or any other type of like, you know, like miraculous situation. Like anyone with conquerors hockey, like that's just miraculous. Like that was just something that they were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna make the obvious characters that need to stand out do conquerors hockey, and then everybody else can just like be a part of it or not be affected by it at all because they're that strong or whatever. But it's very much based off of the same spirit, like Hamon and JoJo. Like it's the same thing.
I feel like hockey turned it up. I feel like, you know.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, no, very much.
I can't believe people are complaining. Like, wow. Like,
I think it's because it's something in the story that just wasn't well, it technically it was always there. But
Conquerors
yeah.
was always there.
Conquerors was always there. We got it in chapter 1. Conquerors
Wait,
hockey.
I mean, wait.
I mean, yeah,
it does look at a big old fish and the fish makes.
Yes.
So, does that mean Conquerors hockey was always there, or was there like some retroactive kind of playing around?
The breadcrumbs for Conquerors were always there.
There
were no breadcrumbs for Armament Hockey.
I guess all I'm saying is that, like, hey, Oda's a genius, not questioning that. There's been a lot of things that like he placed early on and then like brought back later in the table. But like, hey, he also could have just been like, oh yeah, that what I did in chapter 1, like, sure, I'm gonna bring it back here. You know, it's very much could have been that also. It's not like
that is fair. That is,
but
fair.
It might not have been like, oh, this is Conquerors hockey. I'm gonna hint at it right now. You know,
for me, with that, I always found that particular scene, as much as I loved it, I found it hella cringe because I'm like, dude, you looked at a fish and it got scared. It got scared of you. The fish got scared. So I didn't like that aspect of it. But then when Oda went back and he's like, no, he didn't just look at the fish. It was Conquerors hockey. I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense now. I love it. I love it now. So that's kind of my own like justification for why I was like, all right, I like what Oda did there.
But I understand why people are pissed though. Yeah, it is a cool element, but people are afraid that it will become like Dragon Ball Z because you guys compare it to Kaioken. But what is next? In Dragon Ball Z, we have Kaioken, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4, God, and now Blue, and now we have Master Ultra Instinct, and now if you read the manga, they have another transformation or other ability that they're working on. So they're afraid that it's going to get to the point of Dragon Ball Z where every time the character needs to get stronger, it's not going to be about them using their ability. You're just like, oh, let me just transform into something else. That is it.
I feel like if they wanted to do that, they would have done that already. I feel like it's so far that they would have like tried.
And it's a possibility, but it could still happen, and that's the issue. People don't want to have to They see something that's been going on for 20 years. It's like, how long can the author keep going and doing this? Maybe he's trying to change, so they're afraid that he's gonna do that. Dragon Ball Z is also, 30 years old at this point? And look where we are right now. How long did it take for them to do from regular Dragon Ball until Goku got Super Saiyan 3, for example? It took a while.
The reason why I think they might have done this in One Piece a little bit better is just because it was an element in the story that as Luffy got closer to the more, I guess, busted areas of the Grand Line and New World, he started discovering how people fought and in what different ways they fought. And a lot of the people in this end game type of area, they've showcased that, hey, if you want to play with the big dogs, you need to use hockey. And up until then, Luffy was fighting a bunch of in retrospect, he was basically fighting fodder. He was fighting low tier people. So
and that's the advantage of One Piece, is that the author is such a better writer than Dragon Ball Z. So hopefully he never reached that point. But at the same time, you do have people that are worried because they see the beginning of that step that led to Dragon Balls getting there. So the question is the author going to keep his streak going for another 20 years, or at one point is he going to fall off? I don't think he's going to fall off. I think I'll say this.
One, it's like saying Oda's like better than Akira Toriyama. That's like some shaky territory.
That's right.
But maybe a better storyteller. But even then,
it's a storyteller. Come on, you forgot.
Maybe a better plot person. I'll give you a better plot person. Like plot beats and stuff. Like Oda's the GOAT. But he's also telling great stories in Dragon Ball, also in a different, a very different way. But I was just gonna say that it feels like what Oda's done a better job and differently is that at least where we're at now, all the pieces are on the table. You know what I mean? We know who the end players are. There might be some surprises here and there, maybe there's a different weapon that'll show up at the end of One Piece or something like that. Maybe Enel will come down from the moon. I don't know, but it does feel like everything's on the table. Where in Dragon Ball Z, it was all right, what's next? All right, cool. We just beat Frieza. Let's bring in the androids. The androids bring in Cell. And they keep powering them up. That they had to keep bringing them up in different creative ways. While One Piece is everything's here. You got the fruits. You got the bad guys. You got the Armament Hockey. You know what I mean? Everything's here now. You have to figure out how to beat the guys with what's here.
100% agree with you, and that's the issue, because you made a great point that I should have brought up. The issue with Dragon Ball is that they build the story by arc. They look at the story and say, what are we going to do this arc? And that's all they think about. They don't think about the future. And this is why I think that One Piece is a better story. You guys just mentioned something that was possibly mentioned in Chapter 1. Chapter 1 came out in 1997. That's crazy. Meanwhile, you have the Dragon Ball author who's just building things arc by arc. Once he's done with the arc, that's over. They don't think about the future. If the series is popular, they create a new arc, and then now they have to try to create a bunch of other pieces, but One Piece does it so much better. I'm sure that you guys can go back to the first 100 chapter, reread it right now, and notice 1,000 references that you thought were useless early on, and now are crazy and making you hype for chapter 1000. What other manga can do that to you? Surely not goddamn Dragon Ball. The author, if he forgets about the character lores himself, the author, don't get me wrong, he's a great author, but the man, his editor are clown. How do you forget the tell on Goten and Trunks? On Goten and Trunks, I was talking to Dr. Jace, I think it was yesterday, about GT, how Goten and Trunks never fuse in GT. They never fuse. They didn't want them to fight in Super, yet they allowed them to fight Majin Buu and Dragon Ball. What kind of logic is this? Goku told Goten and Trunks that were technically younger, good luck, fam, I got you. He told Gohan, good luck, fam, I don't got you. You're on your own with Cell. Yet in Super, for whatever reason, they fused once and it was a joke. In GT, I never watched GT, but Dr. Jace confirmed it, they haven't fused once. That's ridiculous. How do you forget this big part of your power? This is the equivalent of you guys having Aki right now, and then he never uses it again. That's it. they stopped using it for the next 10 years. How you feel about that? And that's the difference between Dragon Ball and One Piece. One Piece is one good story. Dragon Ball, sadly, it's a bunch of goddamn mini series that just happen to be connected.
Like, if I had to like squint and like find an issue, I guess this whole thing about using your hockey and sending it to his inside your opponent's body to, you know, make him explode on the inside can be kind of obnoxious. But you know, it's cool. You know, I can get over like stuff if it's cool. You know, it's cool. It's cool. It is what it is. I mean, yeah.
A simple man. I like that.
I really didn't find any like a big deal like against hockey. I found it to be a balancing act, to be honest, mostly. Like when it came to the Logias and all that, it's like, wow, now we actually have a good legit way that any character can go against the Logia. It's not like, oh, you got a Logia, you just won. That's it. It was a good balancing act. I really did like what Toasty was saying about One Piece, that they can plant a seed 900 chapters before, and like you just looked it over, and then like 900 chapters later it blooms, and you're like, what? Then you go back and you see where they planted the seed, and it just like carries on completely. One Piece does everything thinking of the present and like the future of where it's going, which is really cool. So I really didn't have a problem with hockey, to be honest. I found it really cool and also necessary to a certain extent.
Like we got an Usopp upgrade out of it. Like I'm fine with
Oh
it.
yeah, yo.
Well,
Usopp can fight those people now.
Technically, Usopp
Only has
alluded
one.
to having observational hockey in Rogue Town when he shot that thing, the weather vane across the way. So
yeah,
I think I agree with y'all when you say Oda, even if he didn't intentionally mean for it to be hockey,
right?
He definitely set stepping stones for something greater.
There were even elements of that in Toasty's favorite arc, Skypiea, where in Skypiea, a lot of they called it something else, but it was literally hockey, where they could kind of sense when things are, I think it was called mantra, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like literally, it was a way for you to be more observant of your surroundings. And that's literally observational hockey. But I like how it was basically a society that's away from the ocean. So they kind of learned that on their own and they called it something else. And then here's Oda bringing that back in, saying, oh, like you saw this earlier in the story in a more practical form, but that was in Skypiea. That's what it was called. Over here in the real world, it's called hockey. So, I mean, it's kind of going off like what we've all been saying. Like Oda plants these seeds early on and you see them like grow into these giant trees. And I love it.
That wasn't the first time they called hockey something else. I mean, in this arc, I can't remember what.
He
called it.
I don't know what he called it either, but
they called it something completely different. But that seems to be the main theme.
In which arc?
The Wano, the Yakuza guy who Luffy was in jail with.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he called it something else. Right.
Yeah. I don't remember what he calls it, but it was basically essentially like channeling your hockey into something else, and then
he didn't call it hockey at all.
No, they don't call it hockey. They don't call it hockey.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's Rio.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, R-Y-O.
Okay.
Rio.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they did call it that.
So that's on top of, say what you want about hockey, but now there's levels to it and there's layers to it. As like,
yes, like an onion.
Yes, there's layers to hockey. And so I definitely find hockey not as gimmicky as just leveling up. There's like, if you're not good at one, you could be good at another, versus you're good at all three, which in something like Dragon Ball Z, you just power up. And whether you match what?
Yeah. I was just gonna say that like Oda loves Akira Toriyama, like looks up to Dragon Ball Z and everything that Akira Toriyama did. And like you can see the seeds of like what he's doing from like what was birthed in Dragon Ball, like from like hockey, from like instead of having power levels, the whole concept of the wanted posters. You know what I mean? Like that is their quote unquote
I actually
power
like
levels.
that. I like that.
It's brilliant. It is brilliant, but you don't get there unless Akira Toriyama does it first. You know what I mean? Like, and gives you like a blueprint per se. And now like even further, you're now seeing like with My Hero using like the superhero rankings and stuff like that. You're just seeing like the evolution like over time.
Correction.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Y-U-O. My bad.
Y-U-O.
Yeah, Y-U-O.
Okay. So Ryu. Yeah. Okay. So goodness, y'all, we did a really good job I think we covered pretty much what really entices us to keep going with One Piece as a whole. We've talked about our early beginnings. We talked about what solidified our fandom, favorite arcs, characters. We could go into favorite intros, but let's just
pirate rap, the best one. There, that's all I
pirate
wanted
rap.
to say. The pirate rap, yes.
I'm gonna say
that's all I'll say.
I'm gonna say Crazy Rainbow Star. That's where I live. Anybody could cut me off real quick before I segue us into our final topic. Nobody? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and segue. I thought TevintheFifth would have a favorite opening, but that's okay. All right, so yeah, let's just go ahead and wrap things up. You know, a lot of people who listen to our podcast, they're either avid fans of what we're talking about, or they're being introduced to something that we're covering. So here we are talking to One Piece fans, and we're talking new fans of One Piece. What is just your favorite thing when you talk about One Piece? What is that thing that you say sets it apart from any other anime? And of course, if people listen to this podcast in depth, they will find what we really enjoy. But if you could summarize it to a sentence, what's the one thing that you would say separates One Piece from the rest of the mangas or animes out there that you think someone could hear and be like, let me give it a try? So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna call Dr. Mondo. What do you think that one thing is?
I would say the world building and the way that it gives you answers, but at the same time just brings more questions to everything. Like, it reveals one secret just to reveal that there are 10 more secrets, and so forth and so forth. And it builds a world of intrigue that we're still not even halfway there of uncovering. And it's been God knows how many years. So it always keeps you on your toes.
I would say the world building as well. Dr. Mondo put it, I would say, perfectly. Like, for me, like, the powers are definitely cool in One Piece, but almost like in practically every shonen or any type of like manga or anime, you're gonna have powers, like, no matter what, or unless you're reading like, you know, a slice of life anime. But in One Piece specifically, I mean, what sets it apart for me is just the world that they live in. You have so many moving pieces. You have like the different factions. You have the world government, Revolutionary Army, the pirates. You have the subcategories like the warlords, the worst generation. Our nomenclature for the supernovas come from that as well. I mean, yeah, like, and Oda, the man's a genius. We've been saying it this entire time. He plants these seeds really early on. Sometimes you don't even know that he's planting them. Like, you'll see it, and then you'll be like, oh, Sanji's looking at this photograph very oddly. And then 20 years later, you realize, wow, Sanji was looking at that photo because it reminded him of his family, right? And now we get a whole arc based off of Sanji's backstory. And it's little things like you just realize, wow, all that stuff I read back then, it's starting to matter now. And I think we've all been kind of saying little bits and pieces of that. Like, Oda just knows how to write. And for me, his world is, I cannot look at any other story that I've read that has such an expansive world as One Piece and say it's on the same level. I just can't. Maybe I haven't read enough animes or mangas, but from what I've read, and I would say I've read a lot, nothing, at least on the scale of One Piece, is even comparable. So I would say that's my favorite part.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, comment, Chris.
Yeah, I was gonna say I completely agree with everybody. The fact that it's so long and expansive, and Oda's kept the story as cohesive as possible, as far as like, it just flowed the entire time. Everything makes sense. Like as you can see, we're like trying to figure out, like, oh, when's the first time you did hockey? Like you could go all the way back to chapter 1, and it's just like he's been doing it since. Like he just has not stopped. Every single arc just flows, and you can expect the next, like what it could be next, but at the same time, it's really not that predictable. So, because you have so many different stories going on, you don't know what story they're going to hit you with this time. But I would say it being just the story being so consistent over so many years, like that was said earlier about Dragon Ball Z, like that, it's like a block. Like it's like, oh, one story here, another story there, another story there. This one's like the entire thing. Like that's how you can put like 3 arcs into one, because it flows so well. Like it's hard to even tell between the arcs sometimes.
Yeah, I would say, again, I'm not going to be invested in a story unless you got some worthwhile characters. And I really think the characters of One Piece are a bar above a lot of different series out there. And I'm not even just talking about the main cast. I'm talking about any character that's introduced to a specific arc, the villains of that arc, and just the side characters too. I'll tell you, you come into a One Piece arc and you leave caring about everybody else involved versus the crew, like the Straw Hat crew. Like, and I think that's partially why I love Dressrosas, because I cared for that kingdom so much, getting back to where they needed to be. Oda does just a very fantastic job at giving depth to characters who you never thought you would care for. And I would like to say other animes can't do that. They can't, and they don't. They don't do it in the way One Piece does it. And One Piece is a grade above them all when it comes to character development and just characters in general. And when for any newcomers, you'll like the characters, and if you like the characters, you'll be invested in everything else.
Yeah, I just feel like One Piece has a little bit of everything. It has you real life laugh, you are real life sad sometimes. Like I told you, I said it earlier, I cried when Nami was telling her mom she could read the poneglyphs. Poneglyphs, whatever. But like that was a real emotional moment for me. It has the character development, the fight scenes are great, the endless theories. We still got, we're 20 years in, we still got the Joy Boys, the Will of D, the ancient weapons. What is the government hiding? The Void Century. What the fuck is the One Piece? And we hear
the name of the story we still don't know.
One Piece is the Game of Thrones of anime. It's just the best thing out there, and there's always something. You can find something. You can always get something out of One Piece. Whatever your thing is, it's in there somewhere. And so that's what I really appreciate.
I guess for me is, first of all, it's a comedy. It makes me laugh. As simple as that. But it also has a serious moment, which is good. You guys mentioned it earlier with Nami when she asked Luffy and Zoro to save her from the Orlang pirates. That was emotional. Or Robin when she said, "I want to live." That's what this manga is so good. It's supposed to be a comedy, but there are certain moments. When are you supposed to cry in a comedy? It doesn't make sense, but the author knows how to do that. And it's not some cliche story either. The villains are not cliche. The characters are not cliche. They're just well designed. And the world building is just that. It's just a good story overall. There's no explaining a good story but saying it's a good story. You either like it because it's a good story, or you don't like it because you don't have taste. As simple as that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And I guess in an attempt to not repeat what everybody's been saying, but kind of like also tie it all together, it's just like One Piece is just so rewarding, I guess, just like both on like this granular level that we keep talking about, where it's like, yeah, they've been building up to this for a long time, and then they finally reveal something. to the stuff they like, you know, the end game is going to be like a super rewarding moment when they explain what the One Piece is. You know, it's just like it continues to reward you, as I was saying, on the granular level, but then like on the smallest level, like you were saying, it's also very funny. Like these characters are great. You know what I mean? Like you read a chapter and you like in 20 pages, you're probably gonna like laugh, get a cool fight scene, you know, have something small or something extremely large be revealed to you about the world. Just like in terms of like anime, manga, definitely in the shonen genre, I just don't think there's anything that's as consistently rewarding in terms of reading and watching as One Piece.
Well said from an admiral. Well said. Well, goodness, y'all. I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about some of these great One Piece moments. So I think this is the perfect place to wrap it up because, you know, now I feel like going back and rewatching some of these arcs. But listen, to all our listeners out there, thank you for taking the time for sitting in with all of us here at the Yonkō Table. And again, I express that we are the Yonkō Table and our name comes from One Piece. So if you have not picked up a One Piece manga volume or seen any episodes of the 1,000+ episode anime, please, from the 7 of us here, go and try giving your life some purpose and go watch this. Okay? Go take your time. It's there for you. And as the Admiral has said, it's rewarding. And the ends, the means justify the end. So listen, I'm just going ahead and wrap things up a bit. All right. We're closing things out. All right. That's our One Piece episode, everybody. So without further ado, you know, I'm GrandMasterHoop. I came and hosted today. And with me, as always, was Dr. Jace. Shout out to Toasty, TevintheFifth, Dr. Mondo, and Kame Chris. And I guess he's giving good insight, but
Giving you my shout out. Give it to me.
Admiral Hooperlino.
That's right.
Again, make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Give us a like, a comment. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us your favorite One Piece characters, your favorite arcs. Tell us, talk to us. We love to hear from y'all. And of course, give us a follow on any place you listen to our podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. But without further ado, I'm your host this evening, GrandMasterHoop. Take care, everybody.